Hi there, folks. Welcome once again to the Human Music live stream. And this is being an almost daily, most normal days, I'm doing this daily routine of mine now, trying to create a music library of my own initiative for your listening pleasure, your and potentially for your use in your creations and productions and videos and so on and so forth, and social media posts, whatnot. I've done a lot of work for the YouTube audio library and the Facebook sound collection. So I have a lot of songs out there. I have a feeling for what works, what people like, what people use. So I'm not waiting around for a commission. I'm just going ahead and creating my own music library. Kinkas' personal stash of bangers, as you will. There will be a website up soon called humanmusic.org. We're working on visual language for that. And anyway, so today we're continuing on the song I started yesterday. And after I did a blues and a funk and a bossa and an electronic track and a hip hop, I thought, why not do a nice reggae tune? I'm a bass player primarily, and I love playing bass to reggae. And we got to where I had done a drum loop, and that's what that's sounding like. It's called a two drop, I believe. So the kick and the snare rim both come on the 2, 2, 3, 4. Right, on the 2 and on the 4, you get kick and rim knock, sorry. Don't confuse rim shot with rim knock, people. Here's a little rant. When you hit the cross stick on the rim of your snare drum, like this, plack, this is called either a cross stick or a rim knock. A rim, and most people call that a rim shot, but a rim shot is actually when you hit the snare drum full on, but you're hitting the head and the rim at the same time. So it's creating kind of a fulcrum, and that's making it even louder than a normal snare hit. Like when you just hit the snare in the middle, it sounds pretty loud. When you do a rim shot, that's like that's the funk, that's the snap, the really loud rock or funk snap snare sound. So people are calling rim shots a whole bunch of other things that aren't that. For example, the rim knock or the cross stick sound. That's just a click. That's what used in bossa nova, for example, and that's what I'm using here. I'm just knocking on the rim of the snare while holding the stick on the head. I'm doing this, right? And other people call rim shot like that funny drum fill that drummers do in comedy, when you for the punchline, to accentuate the punchline. Where's my rim shot? That's not a rim shot either. That's just a drum fill, right? They should just call it a drum fill, but whatever, language is what it is. People use it, and I'm probably wrong because what is used is what the majority uses is the rule. But anyway, end of rant. Sorry about that. It's not what this stream is about. This is about this reggae tune that I'm writing here. So I did a loop, and then I measured the BPM to set the song to a grid, right? Then I did a bass part. I improvised it. I used my brand new Yamaha BB 734A bass it's my favorite bass right now. Going through the JHS color box and the MXR bass compressor. So very minimal processing. It's pretty much just the sound of the bass with a tiny bit of EQ and compression. But then I EQ'd it a little more and compressed it a little more. So I have, I'm giving it a little dip on the mids here, cutting out a little bit of the low, and cutting out some of the highs as well to make it just a nice round reggae tone, and a little bit of modern compression, punch compression here from the Neutron plugin. All right. All right. Hey, is anybody here? If they are, please say hi in the chat. There's a chat on the live streams. Don't be shy. I love interacting with my audience. So I love to see anybody come in here and say hello. Now, once I did this, I thought, why not a guitar, right? So I picked up my Gibson Les Paul, which is what Bob Marley used to use. So it's a little nod to Bob here. I used my HX Stomp pedal, and I found a preset which was actually like the Mark Knopfler Sultans of Swing sound, but it happened to work pretty well for this. It's just a clean amp. That's what we're hearing here. We're hearing the Les Paul going through a clean amp emulation with a little bit of reverb. You'd probably use a little bit of compression too, and I like to use the Renaissance Axe for guitars. It's made for that, so it's optimized. So pretty much just a one knob compressor here, right? Just pull the threshold down and you're done. You have an attack parameter here, but I normally don't mess with that. Uh-oh. Hold on a second, folks. That was my wife. Good news, good news. She's gonna be able to go get the kids, well, at least one of the kids, at school. So that means I can do a little bit longer stream than I was imagining. I thought I was gonna be cut short in about an hour, but it turns out I can continue working for a while. So cool. So all right, where were we? We were listening to the guitar, right? Compressing it a little bit. Nice. I like it. Sounds really nice. And then I had this idea of the clavinet or some kind of electric piano. And over here I have my trusty Yamaha CK61. And I had found this sound here called funky something or other. Dirty Funk. It's a CP80 sound, which is a Yamaha electric piano, an electric grand piano. And it's got some dirt to it, which I thought was a nice alternative to a clavinet. Like, you know, most people associate the clavinet with reggae, because that was used a lot in the British studios when Bob went over there to record. And I thought, yeah, that's maybe a cliche. Why don't I use a similar sound? And then I thought, oh, it'd be nice if this doubled the bass. And then I got lazy and I said, oh, there's a function now where I can use Pro Tools to generate a MIDI file based on audio. So based on the bass track, I generated this MIDI of the clavinet. MIDI of the bass part, and then I shortened the notes and transposed them up an octave or two. And guess what? I didn't like it. I think that that just goes to prove my point even further. of human music, of humans playing music and using as little automation and artificial intelligence or anything like that as possible. Do it, artisanal style. Because yeah, just didn't work out. It sounded like the bass had a clav effect to it or something. It didn't sound like a clav player, like a keyboard player playing along with the bass. So I decided against it. And right now I don't even have that MIDI cable plugged in. Let me see. Here it is. Let me quickly show you to illustrate my point. Just gonna plug the MIDI cable here. And I'm using standard MIDI instead of USB because whenever I plug USB cable and audio cable to almost any of my keyboards here, you get this. It's not that loud. It's probably acceptable, but I don't like it. You got this little whine. And I guess if it adds up, if you start recording a whole bunch of keys with USB, eventually you start to hear that in the mix. So I use good old 5-pin MIDI DIN. And so let's solo that. See, it's not horrible, but I don't love it. I don't love it. I think I'd much rather instead just record and not necessarily every phrase either, just kind of like as I listen to the bass, kind of figure out um, parts to double, and maybe not all of it is doubled. Some of it can be um, chords. So why don't I do that? I think that would be the next step. We already have a drum loop, right? I'm gonna re-record the drums at some point. And by the way, I can prepare that too. The way I'll prepare for it is I'll record just a stereo of this drum loop to continue working as a metronome. So I'm going to open a stereo audio track here called loop. I'm going to route my sub drum channel. So all the drums are routed to one stereo auxiliary channel over here. And I have the output of it is going to my normal speakers, right? But I can open a send here and send that to the loop. And if I hit option and click, hold option and click on the fader, it jumps to the 0 value there, so unity gain. And then I can set the drum loop track to record. Enable it. Let's disable the bass here, bass MIDI. And now I can record just a single bar. Right? So it is a single bar drum loop. So let's hear that. Right? And now I can just cut it at the 2-bar point. So it's exactly 2 bars long. Use the trim function here, which is Command T on Pro Tools. It'll just throw out anything that's not inside my selection. So I used in grid mode, selected 2 bars, Command T threw out everything. Now I can use Command D to duplicate that loop, right? In fact, I can use Shift and Return to select everything behind my selection, and then I can be quicker with filling out the entire song. In fact, I did it a little long. It's okay though. And now I can choose a new playlist for the drums here. That way I don't have to start a whole new set of 8 tracks for the drums. See, my loop is in its own stereo channel here, and I've freed up my drum tracks so that I can record a proper drum take where I'll do fills and variations and things like that. And I'll probably also make mistakes and timing errors. So it's a lot more work to do it that way. For me, if I was a better drummer, I'd probably just nail it, you know. But I'm still learning as a drummer. Even though I'm turning 50 this year, I'm still learning a lot of things. Triunfo TV. Olá, amigo Quincas Moreira. Muita inspiração para você e sucesso sempre. Obrigado, Triunfo TV. Triunfo TV from Brazil has written me a very nice message, wishing me inspiration and success. Thank you very much. So now we have, right, that loop is on its own stereo track here. We don't have the bass, we have the little guitar, and I could go ahead and do the I'll do like something similar to what the bass is doing, but not exactly. So let's try that. We'll set that to record, enable that. We don't need to be soloing anything right now. Oh, guess what? That didn't record. You know why that didn't record? Because I've only connected the MIDI output from my interface to the MIDI input of the keyboard. So I'm not sending the computer any MIDI, right? For that, I would need to either connect another MIDI cable and then turn off local off, right? So that the keyboard is sending the data to the computer, but it's not directly triggering the keyboard itself. And then the computer is recording that MIDI and sending it back and triggering the keyboard. I know this might be a little complicated if you're a newbie with the MIDI. And that's complex. So it's probably just easier for me to just plug in the USB cable at this point. And what I'll do, oh, sorry about that. And what I'll do is I will pull out the USB cable and plug the standard MIDI cable back in once I've created the MIDI recording. Although right now I don't really hear that USB buzz at all. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not hearing it. And I am seeing MIDI activity on my screen. Huh. Nice. We may, something might have happened differently here about how things are connected. And I can probably forego the standard MIDI cable. Hey Breeze, good to see you here again, buddy. Doing a reggae tune today. So if you just joined, I'm going to give you a quick recap. I had tried to use the new Pro Tools feature that uses Melodyne to transform a audio into MIDI. And I transformed my bass line into a MIDI file that I was then using to trigger this CP80, this dirty electric grand piano sound to double the bass with, and I didn't like it. I thought it sounded too artificial. It sounded more like applying an effect to the bass rather than, a musician playing along with the bass. So I gave up on that idea, And I'm now trying to just record a keyboard part that kind of follows the bass, complements it, and maybe it sometimes deviates from it, you know, and just be more and not be lazy and be truly a human musician here, as is my brand. So that's what I'm doing. And then I have a new toy that just came in from Amazon. Here's a sneak preview of the new toy here. No, I'm not gonna spoil it yet. You will see what it is. But first, let's record this electric piano part to go along with the bass. I've already done the Les Paul guitar sound, which is what Bob Marley would have used the Les Paul, and I happen to have one. So, all right. So now let's do this keyboard part. Okay, so cool. I like this so far. And today I'm being a little more modern than my usual methods. I'm actually recording the MIDI first before the audio, right? Since this song is on the grid, because I used a loop, I recorded the drum loop first. I have to assign the MIDI output to the CK series port 1 channel 1 here. And what this will allow me to do is if I have like a note that's too long or the velocity is too loud or I play the wrong note, it allows me to do these little fixes in the MIDI domain before I then record the audio from the keyboard. And I can also try different sounds. Like once I've done it, I can change it to the clavinet sound, for example. And if I feel like it definitely sounds better with a clavinet, then I can record that instead of the electric piano. So there are some advantages to using MIDI. Oh, you have a transverse flute that came in a similar bag. Cool. I have a transverse flute too, which I usually use mostly for effects and stuff because I'm not a very good flute player, unless it's in C, like I can kind of play some melodies in C. But yeah, I'm an instrument collector, and I'm cheeky enough that I don't mind playing instruments I don't know how to play, and then like just trying to make them sound musical and edit and fix them. That's kind of my superpower, my lack of being embarrassed. Anyway. Here's the B section. You know what? I might as well mark it. So function return B, right? Put a little marker on there. Helps me like find myself in the song, right? So this is the first B section, and we're gonna here it goes to the 4 chord, I think. So yeah, so I'm normally in C. Yeah, I do that a lot, folks. A lot of people do that a lot. It's like the normal thing. B section, go to the four chord. I'm not being very original here today, but I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to be idiomatic. I'm trying to do something that will be recognizable as a reggae, maybe one that uh, people will probably think already existed. That's like a high compliment for me if somebody hears a song of mine and says, "But didn't this already exist before?" Without it being a plagiarism, right? Without directly copying a song. If I'm able to capture the vibe of an original style enough um, that people think they've heard it before, that's high compliment for me. Bree says he bets he can play. I can play the flute. No, no, man. That you have to learn fingerings and stuff. I can kind of play it okay. Like I get a decent sound out of my embouchure, and like the standard scale that you can play without using any alternate fingerings. So that's probably. I think my flute's in C. So yeah, if it's something in C major, I can get away with it. In other keys, what I can usually do is figure out just a simple phrase, like figure out the fingering for something simple that I want to do with it, practice that for a little bit, and then perform that. Part of a section. For example, if I play a little saxophone, trombone, and flute, I can do little simple things like that. But I couldn't do a nice flute solo in any key or anything like that. Anyway, let's continue. Here we go. Well, I think there was one note that I didn't like, so let's listen to that. And then at the end, I think I went to the B when it wasn't the B. It was a different section, like a bridge, I think. Hey, Breeze, thank you so much for sharing my live stream at your Discord. That would be great to have more people join in. Makes this way more fun for me. I gave up. I started feeling so unmotivated and procrastinating and starting getting really behind on my backlog of videos to make because I was just not enjoying like doing videos by myself anymore. So live streaming has become the solution for me to create content. Sometimes I will include gear, for example, and then my assistant will edit that into a video. But doing live stream, I enjoy. It's fun for me. It's fun to hang out and share with people my process and compose without being all alone, talking to nobody. All right, so thanks again for sharing. This note. This note right here, that's the note I don't like. There we go. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Ah, that works. Yeah, that will work better. And here, I thought I was going to the 4 chord again. Let's mark this as C section. Because here, so here what I'm doing is the A flat. So that's the minor sixths from the, because I'm in C minor most of it. Then 6, and then 5, right? But here I'm going 6, and then 7, minor 7, and then back to the C. Yeah, that's cool. Like do a little arpeggio there. So let's try that. Oh, that's different. Something different happened there. So let's fix. I think I did play one wrong note, and then we'll see what happened afterwards. I improvised this bass line, folks, so I don't remember everything I did. See, and now that I'm playing and performing the keys rather than letting like MIDI, copying the MIDI of the bass, I'm creating like little counter melodies and moments where I play chords instead, so much more interesting. The keyboard is becoming its own part, and little melodies are arising from it, just naturally from just playing. See, again, I just fixed this note. I was like, oh, this is off the grid. And then when I fixed it, it didn't sound good. So sometimes, it's nice to leave the humanity, leave the little mistakes. They're not mistakes, they're interpretation. Here we go. This is the wrong note. I hit 2 notes by mistake when I meant to hit just 1. Breeze is asking me, she's saying the bass line is very good, and he's asking me what type of bass did I use. This is my new bass, Breeze. It's the Yamaha BB734A, which is a brand new bass from Yamaha. It's an active PJ style 4-string bass. I would show you, but it's in my living room because it's the bass I'm practicing with. So when I leave the studio, I take it to the house with me. And I mean, it's not far away. I could run over there and get it, but I'll show it to you some other time. It's my favorite bass right now. It's really classic looking indigo blue finish. It looks like a Fender kind of bass, but it's not. It's a Yamaha, and actually Yamaha is beating Fender these days, in my opinion. It has some really nice features like the active preamp, the through body strings at an angle. They go in like a 45-degree angle from the back of the instrument instead of the normal 90-degree. And it has a bunch of things. It's a really great sounding bass. Check it out. yeah, it's my favorite right now. And I have like 6-string fretless basses and things, fancy stuff like that, handmade. And I'm loving the factory Yamaha more these days. And I use the MXR bass compressor pedal through the JHX color box, which is the JHX color box is a pedal. Color box is basically the circuit of an old Neve preamp. So it's like recording the bass straight into an old Neve console. So there's no amp simulation going on here. It's just the sound of the bass. Yeah, you love Yamaha stuff, so do I, obviously. I have my Yamaha keyboard here. My drum set is a Yamaha Stage Custom. My old stuff, I have a Yamaha TG33 that I love to use. Yeah, I've been a fan of Yamaha my whole life. My first 2 keyboards when I was a teenager were also Yamahas. So I have lots of love and loyalty to the brand. Maybe someday they'll endorse me. That would be a dream come true. So, all right, let's continue and see what happens to the bass line here so that we can complement it with the keys. Here we go. And yeah, it goes back to the G. So it goes A flat, G, F, G, and that sets us up back to go back to the A section. So let's do that. And there's a B section again. So and so let's mark the return of the A section here. And now here, the bass does something really cool that's kind of being obscured by the keys. So let's make that keyboard note shorter. Or rather, the bass plays that note twice. See? Dun, dun, dun. And then there's this little this ghost note thing. I want that to be audible, so I'm just gonna play that note again. There we go. And here, the keyboard gets a little more active. See, 'cause it makes sense as we go back to the A section for it to be a little bit more active and interesting, so that there's a growing intensity in the song, growing density in the song. Now my surprise new instrument is going to take the lead for the most part. So I don't want this keyboard to be too protagonistic, right? So it's going right back to its supporting role of mostly complementing what the bass is doing. And here I can hear that we're going back to the 4 chord. So as we know, that is our B section. We're having another B section here, and I'll just go ahead and record. Okay. Yeah, I don't like this note because the bass did something different there. Let's see. Right, it didn't go to the G right away. So when I went to the G right away with the keyboard, clashed with the F from the bass. So we're gonna fix that. In fact, I can fix it by just moving it. See, that's the beauty of MIDI. Well, yeah, but then then we do want to go to the G. So I'm just gonna delete it and perform that. Sometimes it's easier than editing. Right? Oh, and this is the end of the B section. It goes to the G flat, sorry, G sharp or A flat, and ends on the 5 chord on the G. So here we don't want to go to the F. We want to go to the. There we go. Oh, the bass does. Let's do that with the keyboard too. The song ends. So let's see what the phrase the bass is doing, so we can do it together and have an actual ending. And we need to cut that drum loop, so I'm not fooled into thinking that the song continues. So we'll just cut a couple extras of the drum loop here. And here, let's listen to what the bass is doing. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, we'll just end with dun, dun. Right? And even the guitar should shut up right there. Or rather, we'll take this last note here and just move it right there. Dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. In fact, I wanted to repeat the first note, not the second one, right? Dun, dun, dun. I'm just gonna cheat here because I don't have the bass handy. Just gonna, there you go. See, knowing when to cheat, folks. Sometimes cheating is okay. Sometimes you should do things the long way, right? And we'll fade out the guitar here too. And that gives us an ending. Kind of a trite, not very original ending, right? But it gives us an ending. There we go. We can think of ways to make this ending more interesting later with other instruments. Okay, now is the time that we've all been waiting for. It's the moment of the reveal. Moment of the reveal. What is my new toy? What has gas brought me this time? And I was thinking today about maybe doing like a hot take video. Seems like those videos get more engagement and views than actual like interesting instruction. And my hot take is that gas is good for you, right? We're always as composers and musicians, we need inspiration constantly. And we can't just wait around for inspiration. We have to go get it, go find it. Like if I have a deadline for tomorrow, or I'm doing now, where I'm doing a live stream every day. What happens if I'm not inspired a particular day? Well, you can get inspiration in many ways, and one of those ways is having a new instrument, like my new Yamaha bass, for example. It's so nice, and I don't need another bass. I have 16 bass guitars, folks. Do I need another bass? I have a jazz bass, a P bass, a Stingray, a six-string fretless, another six-string fret. I have way too many basses, more than I need. I'm an enthusiast. I'm a lover of basses. Each one has a particular characteristic or quirk that I like for certain things, different depending on what style of music I'm making. I'll go reach for one of them, right? I can rationalize and justify uh, my gear acquisition syndrome that way. But particularly this Yamaha bass that I just bought, did I need it? I could have done this song with any of my other basses, but I love it so much. It feels so good to play it and sounds so great that it's making me practice a ton. I've got calluses again, like when I was gigging, touring musician. I'm playing hours and hours a day and coming up with cool lines and having ideas for songs. So, obviously, don't spend money you don't have. Don't get in debt. But if a piece of gear inspires you, if it's gonna make you get that like new instrument feeling and inspire you to create, since music is what pays the bills around here, I find myself totally justified to like give myself a new toy once in a while. And I've always been a fan of the melodica. It's an instrument that I've used for some of my songs to emulate accordion sounds because it uses reeds the same way that accordions do. The only difference is instead of using a that mechanism that creates air by pushing and pulling, in or a bagpipe is similar too, where you're filling up a bag and then you're pressing into it, and it's a harmonica uses the same kinds of reeds as well. So this kind of sound is very useful. And since I am a keyboardist, I'm not an accordionist, I'm not a very good harmonica player, I found that the melodica is a good way to fake that kind of thing, right? And it's super expressive because, unlike most keyboard instruments, with a melodica, since you're using your wind, you can do crescendo, for example. You can be very expressive by starting a note super soft and then crescendoing it, which you can't do with a piano, or with an organ, you kind of can using the pedal, but it's so nice. Right? And this point, I thought, you know what? I deserve something better than this plasticky old Yamaha again. Sounds great, has worked, has done the job in my life beautifully up to this point. But I thought I should get something nicer, more professional, since I'm such a fan of the melodica. Why not get like a pro melodica? So that's today's review. It's this thing over here. I got a brand new Honer, no, Suzuki, Japanese again, not a Yamaha, but a Suzuki Melodion, the Pro 37 V3. Comes with this really nice case, and I haven't even played it yet. It was waiting for me here from in an Amazon box when I got home from running some errands and stuff. And wow, here it is. Look at this beauty. This is so much more professional looking and feeling. You can feel the weight, you can feel the material. There's a little area here, a little grill where you're supposed to put the microphone. Yeah, it's a spit valve, which you don't get with the other ones, and the spit valve is actually has a little string, so that it hangs on, and it's metal, and you don't lose it, right? So let's see, and the keyboards feel so nice and not sticky at all. Like the Yamaha, every time I play it, I need to like first push in the keys because they get all stuck. Right, so I'm going to use my keyboard as a stand for it here. So I turn down the volume. And, you know, in dub music is instrumental. Usually the producers of reggae music would do shows where they would use the mixing console as an instrument and just add effects and stuff. And I'm going to do that at some point here with this song. Once the most of it is composed, I'm going to use some delays and reverbs in interesting ways. But a lot of times the melodic element in dub music is precisely the melodica. These guys would pull out a melodica and would create melodies with it to substitute the vocals. So we have a mouthpiece here, a little one. We have a tube, and I think that's it. We get one small mouthpiece and one tube. Now I'm not going to use the mouthpiece because I like to play looking at the keys, right? Although it is such a nice mouthpiece, this is way nicer looking than what you get with the plastic cheap ones. Nice, cool. But we'll keep it in the case. And what a nice little nylon case I get too. I'm super chuffed, folks, with this new toy. This is going to inspire me a lot to use the melodica more. And also, my Yamaha is a little out of tune. Maybe from years of having it and using it. It's gone a little out of tune. So this is probably going to sound way nicer and more in tune. More responsive too. Like the Yamaha, I needed to blow it at a certain, with a certain amount of strength before I could get sound. And this one, even very softly, already responds. Ah, beautiful. I love it. Oh, hi, tonal axis. Add some reverb and it's perfect. That's right. Hey, Hoofjaw. Yeah, see, Breeze, thank you so much, man. Breeze is saying that gas can be inspiration, but it can be the death of inspiration as well. I can see that point, Breeze. Like when it gets in the way of you composing, like when you feel like, "Oh, I need to get that other thing, I won't be able to do what I want until I have it." Yeah, then that's like the dark side of gas, right? So the bright side of gas is when getting a new toy inspires you to create new things, and to engage with music and be excited like a little kid again. The dark side of it is if it becomes a condition, if you feel like you can't do, no, you can, you always can. Like I won't let it do that to me. Um, I always find a way to do what I need to do with what I have, but that won't stop me from, if I have the money, if I can afford it, without sacrificing other important things in life, to uh, gift myself nice things that will make the music making process more enjoyable and more fun for me. So that's the way that I think gas can be a good thing. Gas being gear acquisition syndrome, folks. Okay, I'm starting to get thirsty because I'm talking so much. I'm probably gonna have to go get some water at some point. So Bree says, for some reason, all the Belgium television series that deal with the time before around the war have melodica music. So I'm getting heavy nostalgia here. Cool. Yeah, fun part of doing double with delays is playing with the feedback. Hey, tone on axis. I think I'm gonna pull out the Erica Synths um, Zen delay for the dubbing here. So that's gonna be a fun part of uh, of this reggae tune. I might not finish it today though. That might be the dub part might happen tomorrow. We'll see. We're because I still have to do the drums, right? So first though we're gonna go ahead and record this beautiful new professional melodica that I have. I think I've I think I've earned the right to own a professional melodica. I've made pretty decent money with the cheap ones. You know, I have specifically a tune called Tango Mango, which is a tango tune that I wrote for the YouTube audio library, where I don't have a bandoneon, right? The traditional Argentinian accordion type instrument. So I used my cheap Yamaha Melodica to emulate that to great effect. And that song is one of my more popular songs. It gets used a lot and generates some royalties here for me. So I can consider that the cheap melodica paid for the expensive one. Right? Again, I know I'm rationalizing, folks. Just leave me alone. let me enjoy my nice things. Okay. So this is my Blueberry microphone. It's made in the US from Latvian parts. So way before my relationship with Erica Synths, I was already using Latvian gear. Check that out. I've had this microphone for over 20 years now. It's been my main studio microphone for a long, long time. I brought it over from Brazil when I moved to Mexico. And it's a lovely, lovely mic. And so, let me hit play to the song so y'all can hear how it's coming along. And I'll run to the house and get a glass of water and maybe bring that bass too so that Breeze can have a look. So check out how this is turning out. Nice, right? So it's coming along. Now, um, oh, now I'm out of breath. Anyway, Breeze, this is for you. This is my beautiful Yamaha BB. This is an instant classic. I know this thing, if I had to sell all my basses today, I would probably keep this one. And it would be enough for me for pretty much anything that I would ever need to do. I might want to keep it fretless too, though. And that would be the Infinity Ghost 6-string fretless handmade luthier unique one-of-a-kind instrument that I have. Unless I really needed money, then I would sell that and just keep my Ibanez SRF 700, which is a wonderful fretless bass. Yeah, I'm loving this thing. It has these boats. It has the normal 4 boats that you would have on a neck, but it also has 2 extra ones that are at an angle. So it makes the neck joint extra sturdy. And then it has the strings through body over here. It has a battery compartment for the active circuitry, but it has an active passive switch, so I can play it passive too. And in fact, if I'm at a gig and the battery runs out, I can just flip it to passive and keep going. It's PJ configuration, so precision pickup, jazz pickup. Nice classic looking big guard. Nice rosewood fingerboard, 5-piece maple mahogany neck, and a classic kind of headstock and tuners. I ordered a tuner with a D flip switch here so that I can detune it to a D quickly. So that's going to be the only mod I'm doing to this one. Sounds wonderful. It's my favorite bass nowadays. I'm going to hang it on here. And now, let's see what you guys are saying. PJ has all bases covered, right? Yeah, because you can use just the P pickup and you get that fat Jamerson kind of sound. And then you leave just the J pickup, you get that Jaco sound. That, in fact, this one in particular kind of sounds like a Stingray too when you use just the bridge pickup. And then both together, you get that more modern kind of slap bass sound. Yeah, it's great. It's a great instrument. I'm in love with it. All right. So let's go ahead and open a new track here. And we'll call it the melodica. Melodica. And this is going to be the lead melodic instrument. No pun intended. And I think my microphone's plugged into ADAT input 3. So we're going to turn that up a little bit. Phantom power is already on. Yeah, see, I'm rubbing the grill of my mic and we can hear it. So let's record some melodica, folks. Yep, you're witnessing the debut of this professional Suzuki melodica. I hadn't played a note in it until I just did just now when I pulled it out of the case. All right. Oh, I would like to hear it with reverb already, but that would imply having to use turn off non-latency and have some latency. No, never mind. I'm just gonna have to imagine the reverb. And improvise some stuff. Let's just do it. You might have to figure out a way to not turn the volume down on the CP, otherwise you won't hear it. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right about that. And in fact, I should probably hear it because it's doing some melodies. You know what I'll do then? In that case, we're gonna go ahead and turn the CP into audio, right? We're gonna record the audio from the CP80. Now, before I do that, I'm gonna quickly Quickly test and see if we don't prefer a clavinet sound. So this is 2-3. Page 2, sound 3 is the CP80. Let's see about a clavinet here. I think it's better, isn't it? It's more classic reggae. Tono Axis is asking me what reverb I would use. Yeah, right. For if I were using hardware reverb, I could use the Night Sky, the Strymon Night Sky. It's a pedal that I have, really nice, expensive pedal with a really lush reverb. If I was using a plugin, I would use the Valhalla, which I use for pretty much everything. Okay, now the clavinet is like an octave lower though. So let's just try, hear it transposed up an octave. So we'll go to Event, Operations, Transpose, 1 octave up, apply. Now let's hear that clavinet sound up an octave. You know what? We'll keep the MIDI. If we prefer the CP later, we could do it. But for now, I'm just going to record it, the clavinet sound. It's probably going to stay. It's probably going to stay. I was trying to be a little more original and not use a clav sound on a reggae, but it's just so perfect. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have to listen to the song, folks, because this is happening in real time. I'm using an actual hardware keyboard rather than a soft synth, so I can't just do like a commit command or something like that. So I might as well record the melodica too while I'm at it. And what I'll do is I'll just put it on the desk in front of me instead of on top of the keyboard, and we'll bring that way we'll kill 2 birds with one stone. I'm gonna track the clavinet MIDI and record the melodica in one single pass. All right. How does that sound for being practical in the studio? I have the Valhalla plugin, but my secret reverb sauce is the Sound Toys little plate. It sounds great on almost everything. Oh, nice. I'll look into that. I'll look into that. I'm not really like too particular about plugins. Like I'm just functional with them. I'm more particular with my hardware stuff. For the dub though, today we might use the Night Sky on one send and the Zen delay on another send, and manually, improvise the sends the way a dub mixer would do it. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to record my first take of melodica along with turning the clavinet, which is now a clavinet, into an audio track. Let's do it. Sorry, I need to turn off my vocal microphone so you're not getting double the melodica. What a nice instrument. That was a joy. That was a joy. I think it was probably a little busy. It was a good first take. It was a good just get an idea. Let me just do that ending. What had I done for the ending? Oh, hold on. Yeah, and now we have an audio version of the clav. So we no longer need to rely on the MIDI. We can even hide and make that inactive so it's not looking at me. And let's just do that ending with the melodica real quick. Mm. A little jazzy chord at the end there. Just plug that right after the actual ending. Right once there's reverb in there. Cool. Hoofjaw says, well played. Thank you. You just hardcore nailed it on the freaking first take. Nice. Oh, that's so nice about these real instruments. Full polyphony, almost mind blowing when you're stuck in Eurorack or even polysynths all the time. Yeah, you know, I'm a bit autistic, so I have these hyper focus periods in my life, and I hyper focused on modular for a while, and that's about half of my modular collection right there. And I became like a well-known YouTuber and everything, but to be honest, I don't define myself as a synthesist or a modular player. I consider the modular and synthesizers in general part of my sonic arsenal, so to speak. But I really love to play instruments with my hands. In fact, when I play modular, I'm always looking for like interesting tactile ways to interface with it, be it like big knobs or ribbons or joysticks or even like visual controllers and things like that. So yeah, I've come full circle back around to mainly the bass. I'm playing bass more than anything, and now I think I'll be playing melodica a lot too. Now that I got this beautiful professional thing. Cool. I'm not sure I nailed it on the first take because I think I played a little busy, but it does sound nice. So let's have a listen and maybe fix a few things, maybe create a few spaces, and then it's 2:30 here in Mexico City. I think I have until 3:30, so I have another hour. So maybe, just maybe, we might be able to do the dubbing with real hardware effects still today. And but I also need to redo the drums. Remember, so I think that's priority because when I dub, I'm gonna want to dub like some snares too, right? Send the snare to the reverb or to the delay certain moments. This is when I wish I had an actual tactile physical mixer in front of me. I mean, I do have a mixer, but I don't think it has. Yeah, I mean, I could probably work something out, send outputs of my interface to the mixer, sends of the mixer to that. That'll be complicated. So maybe, yeah, maybe I'll set that up and it'll be the first thing I'll do for tomorrow's stream. And today we'll end with doing the real drum take, right? Drum and percussion too. I might do like some vibra slap, some timbales, the classic reggae percussion ensemble. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is just give this a little bit of a reverb. It'll be plug-in for now, just so it's nice to listen to. And I can try something different. I always use a Valhalla. But I do have a couple other things here that I might as well try. I got this subscription to, or this package from Native Instruments. And I think they have this thing called the Space. Is that theirs? Or I also have a plate from a plate plugin from Arturia that's really nice. Maybe that's what I will use for today. I don't need a tutorial, thank you. We want to make sure that it's full wet and send the melodica to that track, verb. So that would be nice if I do get to keep this first take. I do pride myself in trying to keep first takes as much as possible. I like the freshness that comes with that. The bass you're hearing, for example, is a first take of the bass. I think the guitar is also first take. The drums is just a loop, but I might end up keeping my first take of the full drum set as well. I keep first takes and then I fix them, folks. There's some lovely bits in there. Shades of Augustus Pablo. Thank you. I was 39 years old when I first touched the Eurorack system. Yeah, I was 36, man. Before that, it was all kinds of other things. I kind of converged to being the Eurorack YouTube dude. Yeah, same here. A plate always works. I want to make a real one someday. Yeah, man. I know some people here in Mexico City that have real plates. I could like send them a file or something, and have them process the plate. But I think the plugins are close enough to where I don't want to bother with all of that. But if I had a real one, I would use it. I also have springs. Springs would be nice in my Eurorack system. So I could maybe use a real spring and then the Zen delay. Yeah, we'll see what I'll set up for the dub session tomorrow, and that'll be the end, the final. Do I want some horns on this song too? I don't know. You might not need them. We'll keep it simple. All right. So let's listen. Let's listen to the song as it's taking shape right now, and possibly fix a few little things about the melodica track. We'll see. Yeah, already I feel saturated with melodic. I think I need to create some pauses. Hold on, this microphone is like in my way here. I feel crowded. All right, let's move the chair back up. Get into edit mode, editor. I do like how it starts. I think it's nice that it starts with the melodica right away. Like I thought I wanted to do like an intro first, but I kind of like it. Yeah, let's hear if we mute this part here, what happens there. In fact, yeah, I like that. And I'll make it even longer. That way, when the melodica comes back in, again, it's like a nice, a nice thing you've been waiting for. Oh, where's that melodica? Create some expectation for it. Let's see. Breeze, you bring up Hermeto Pascual. Hermeto Pascual is my Lord and Savior. I am a Brazilian. I have seen him live. I am a huge fan of Hermeto Pascual's composition, his philosophy of living. He's I'm all about him. I'm all about that guy. He's multi-instrumentalist as well. Incredibly genius, talented individual. Anybody watching this who doesn't know who Hermeto Pascual is, please go check his stuff. Yeah, and he does play the melodica quite a bit. That's true. Since he is a pianist, that is a natural wind instrument for someone like him to play. And yeah, thanks for bringing him up. And yes, spring reverb. Yeah, right. So yeah, that you guys voted for that, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna set up a old school dubbing system here for tomorrow, and maybe I'll even use the night sky as well. Have two different reverbs, and maybe even two different delays. Why not? We'll have the um, I don't know. I don't know how many sends I have in my mixer. Actually, we'll have to see. So I'll figure something out, something cool out to make it fun. Alrighty. Let's continue this edit session, and then we're gonna do the drums, the real drums and percussion. In fact, you know what? I think I'm gonna leave the melodic as is and just go ahead and do the drums. I think that's maybe that'll even help inform me how I should edit the drums. How I should edit the melodica rather, like what the drums do. So I'm gonna record enable all of my drum microphones here. I have a D112 mic on the way. That'll round out my drum miking situation. I'm still using a kit mic on the drum, on the kick, a kit on the kick. Other than that, they're all fine microphones. The Rode overheads, the 57 on the snare, the RE20 under the tom facing the kick, and a nice Shure one on the tom. And the only thing that's still kind of shabby is the kick drum mic, but I'm not gonna wait for that, right? Like I said, the gas shouldn't be an impediment. Need a high pass as well. Where do you think I need a high pass? On the melodica? Did it pick up too much rumble? On the reverb, right? Sure thing. I have a high pass on my JHS color box pedal. Maybe that's going to be the preamp to the reverb. That'd be nice. We have a couple of things on the chain there. Um, yeah, I'll work something out. Yeah, that's a thing for sure. Um, for doing the dub, high pass on the reverb. That'll work. And I hadn't thought of using that. I think I thought of maybe doing that afterwards when mixing the reverb track. I could EQ it then, but we'll see. For now, let's just do these drums. And here's my trick, folks. Since I don't have, I've been a solo producer most of my life. I don't have somebody like hitting record for me. So I give myself an 8-bar count off. And open up the click, but turn it way down. So I just hear those 8 bars. And that gives me time to walk over. Oh no, I left my wireless transmitter on and the battery went out again. So I'm just gonna have to plug it into the USB power. It's gonna make it a little noisy, but whatever. So the 8-bar count off gives me time to go walk over there, grab the sticks, take a breath, and come in with the drums. So, and I'm gonna bring the GoPro camera so y'all can see me play. And I'll turn off my vocal mic for now, otherwise you'll be hearing like blasted drums really loud. One of my dogs just wandered in here. Let me see if she might have gotten stuck. I'm gonna see if she needs help to get out. Okay, that was definitely not a one take situation today for a number of reasons. Number one, I definitely needed a warm up. I'm not that good a drummer that I'll just sit down and pump out a perfect take without even having touched the drums all day. Second problem, look at this. All of my all of my condenser microphones are quiet because I forgot to turn on the phantom power on the interface. So that's problem number two. Problem number three is besides just warming up, I also needed to kind of like get a feel for what works different parts of the song. So the modified customized high pass on the mixing board of King Tubby's was meant to be a bit of a defining thing about the sound that they got there, I think. The sound of the spring reverb at Tubby's had a fair bit of to do with the high pass. Yeah, cool. You see, you guys are more knowledgeable about the inner workings of dub mixing than I am. I'm learning from you folks. I'm gonna use the high pass for sure. I have the JHS color box for that. That's gonna work really well. And I'm gonna do another drum take. So I'm not even gonna save this one because guess what? It didn't really record. I didn't have the phantom power on. Now I do. Right? So I'm gonna go back and do another take. This time I'm gonna try a trick that I do sometimes, which is I won't use any crash or ride. That means that if I need to fix timing errors on my drumming, I won't be, because you can't do that. When you have cymbals sustaining, they get destroyed by any kind of quantization attempt. So I'll do a take afterwards where I'll do some cymbals if needed with the percussion, with the timbales and wood blocks. I won't try to add wood blocks and timbales to the drum take. I'm just going to focus and pretend like we're different musicians, you know? Percussionist is one guy. He's going to do splash, cymbals, wood blocks, and timbales. And right now, I'm just the drummer that's just going to keep it steady with the kick, snare, and hi-hat. And not even tom fills, I don't think, because my toms right now are tuned for rock. They're very low sounding. So, all right, so let's do this drum take. All right. So that was better. Now it seems like everything got recorded. Well, it looks like I clipped the kick drum a little bit. I don't think enough to be bothered by it though. It's like one of the overheads, a little loud too. Um, yeah, it's not a great take, folks, but I don't think I'm good enough drummer to really do much better than that. So it's gonna be down to editing a bit. So Hoofjaw is a dub encyclopedia. Awesome. Nice to have a dub encyclopedia here with me while I do this stuff. So, okay, so I think I have a little time left. Why don't we use it to clean up and edit this drum take, see if it works, or if I'm gonna have to do some serious practicing off camera to be able to come back and do a better take. But right, metronome off. Metronome off. Okay, the snare is too loud. And it needs a little more reverb. Do I have a drum reverb? Yeah, I have this vintage Verb Fat Drums preset going on here. You know, surprisingly, I was expecting this to sound worse right off the bat. And I mean, I'm sure there will be moments where I'll need to fix things, but let's just check it out. See here on the B section, I created some variation by doing a 4 on the floor on the drums, on the kick. However, as you can see in the graphic, my foot strength is a lot less. Like when I'm doing just a 2 drop, boom, I'm really like leaning into that foot. And then now it's softer. So I'm probably gonna have to do a little compressing, maybe a little bit of automation. We'll look at that later. Right now we need to just make sure that all the timing is good enough for this reggae tune. Now I went into the snare here for when it goes back to the A section. In fact, we didn't mark the return to the bass section, to the A section. And I'm not sure I like that. I'm not sure I like the snare there. So I might edit in the first A section. Just cut and paste. That's the advantage of having done this to a grid. There's a lot of my other songs I haven't done to any grid at all. Or I could just re-record this part, just punch in. But let's keep going. Breeze, yeah, there is clip gain on Pro Tools. So yeah, that's probably what I'll use actually. I don't, in fact, I prefer to use clip gain because it's pre-plugins. So for example, if I'm using compression, then the compressor, threshold will still be acting pretty much the same. So yeah, you're right. I will use clip gain. It's easy. Check it out. You just do ungroup the drums here so that I can choose just this. Separate this little bit here with Command E, and then there's a little fader here. So I can bring up the clip gain that way, right? Yep, that worked. So yeah, the way the drums are tuned, both the snare and the toms, they're low. They're more like for like rock sound or funk sound. So yeah, I'm probably gonna cut in the beat done with rim knock with the side stick rather than snare. The right hand got right envy, didn't it? Yeah, especially in the C section. In the C section right here, I think it felt nice to go to the right cymbal, and I did go when I said I wasn't gonna use any cymbals. So let's hear how that worked out. I think I then stopped using the right cymbal because I remembered that I wasn't supposed to. Let's hear what it sounded like. Yeah, I think I consciously at this point went back to doing the hi-hat, but doing really simple hi-hat, just almost as if I was doing like a chick with the foot, so that it doesn't get in the way of the ride, right? You don't want hi-hat and ride to be doing the subdivision at the same time, because normally a drummer only has one right hand, unless they're doing like one hand on each and alternating. So yeah, I think I'm probably gonna edit this part too, and then add the right cymbal later. And then I went back to the cross stick here. See, I did one snare, and then back to the cross stick. This feel, it's not sounding great on its own, but I think once I add the percussion, once I add like a timbale, that'll complement it and make it, round it out, make it sound good. And then here I go back to the 4 on the floor. That's softer, as you can see in the graphic, and we're gonna do the clip gain thing again. Let's bring it up to about the same level as the other parts. rushing a little bit. Here I think it's okay to go to the snare because it's the end of the song. It's giving it a little extra punch. I thought it was the end already. I did like, and then I did like a 12/8 feel here. Tuck, 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 tuck. Which kind of works, and it's nice that I did it. I can maybe like cut a loop from that and use it elsewhere. So not too bad, not too bad. I think this is a good enough take to work with. So now here's a simpler way to do it. I do think the melodica is too busy, especially when we think that we're going to be adding like effects and stuff, reverb and delay. This I might end up doing just another more simplified take of the melodica. It was a nice take, but hold on, somebody's calling me. Okay. Sorry, that was my wife again. She was late to pick up my girls. I should have gone. Okay, let's. So the way that I like to fix these drums is to just use just the bass and guitar, right, and drums. That way, I'm not being distracted by everything else. I did this tuck, tuck, tuck here, but I think I did it in the wrong place. Let me replace that with something simpler. That one works, right? Yeah, that one I don't like. So let me just replace that. I'm gonna put it on grid mode. Make a cut here. Right, and oh no. Here we go. Got 2 bars here where I don't do that thing, the tuck, tuck, tuck thing. And I'll just paste that right here. I did an extra kick here, like coming back from the tak tak tak. So I'm just going to extend the edit and see what happens. I'm getting a call again. 1 minute. Sorry about that, folks. I'm gonna have to end soon because I need to make sure that my wife and daughter have something to eat when they get here pretty soon. Breeze sounds great, man. I'm gonna have to go, but the tune will probably be stuck in my head when I wake up tomorrow. I try to come over and watch the rest of the process in the next live. Have a good day, evening, everyone. You know what? I'm gonna take Breeze cue. And I'm also gonna stop for today. Or should I? You know what? Let me just finish fixing these drums really quick. Right, so here's where I didn't love this return of the A section here. The snare drum here, so. It's not that bad actually. Maybe I didn't start with a great groove there. I think this portion might work better if I paste it here. Let's see. Right, it just feels a little edited. Let me. There we go. Which sometimes you need to just pull back the beginning of your edit, so that includes. So that comes from a little bit before the downbeat, and that makes it feel more natural. Here again, sounds weird, so let's. There you go. And always a little crossfade for good measure. This snare head's a little off. What if I quantize it? Ha! In order to quantize, I need to put everything on uh, rhythmic warp here. I can just quantize that tiny bit there. Mm, no, I didn't quite. My GoPro turned off. Battery ran out. You know what? It's lots of signs that maybe I'm getting tired and maybe we should continue tomorrow. So everyone who's been here thus far, thank you very much for joining, and don't forget to come back tomorrow to the exciting conclusion. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to finish this tomorrow, um, which is a Wednesday, and I'll try to start punctually at 11 a.m. Mexico City time. Um, well, today I started later. I started like at 1. Um, but I'll try to start earlier tomorrow. So I get the editing of the drums uh, out of the way, record the percussion track, re-record the melodica, and then do the dub mix and finish the song. Right. Hopefully we can do all of that in one day and be done. So that'll be another song that took 3 days to make. That's turning out to be a trend. Uh, and that's okay. I had initially set a goal of doing a track a day, but I think it's more important that these turn out nice. And since I'm interacting, talking, it takes a little longer than when I'm just, focused and working by myself. And I'm also, trying out ideas because I'm interacting with people that maybe I would be lazy to try. It's fun to share them. For example, the mixing with that real hardware effects. I would probably, if I had a tight deadline, just use plugins and it would sound okay. But it's going to be way more fun to do this with an actual spring reverb and outboard delay and stuff. So that's why these songs are taking a little longer than I normally do, but it's for a good cause. For a good cause. Welcome to Human Music live stream. See you again tomorrow. Goodbye.